Good morning, everybody. Today, we are talking about Epic Destinies, specifically two of them. A very melee and ranged adjacent Epic Destiny Legendary Dreadnaught, and an exclusively ranged Epic Destiny Shiradi Champion. They pair very interestingly. I think these two Destinies have a lot in common. I think they kind of share some abilities. And they're also both very good for ranged, which we'll get into a little bit when we go down. Also, I really like one of these Destinies, and I really don't like the other one. Vote now on your phones to see if you can figure out which one it is before you watch the video. Anyway, let's talk about Legendary Dreadnaught. I love Legendary Dreadnaught. This tree is amazing. Legendary Dreadnaught before was the tree where you went and you got Blitz, and then you pressed Blitz, and then if your Blitz didn't get stacks, you were sad, and then it turned off and you didn't have Blitz. Also, it had action boosts that you could use infinitely, which was very cool, but according to the development staff, that's unbalanced. Which I can kind of understand, because having action boost be a temporary boost up 100% of the time doesn't really sound like it fits much into balance. So as fun as it is, I can understand. So what would they do to replace it? They need something big, something flashy. So let's take a look at the cores. The cores are pretty straightforward. Immunity to Fear, which is just a nice bonus. In each core, gives you life, melee power, and range power. This 6 range power is a typo. It is supposed to be 8. Weapon Master gives you +2 to hit and damage with all weapons. Not too bad, plus the other stats. And then 15 PRR. These are a lot of good stats. 15 PRR is a lot to get out of an Epic Destiny just right away. So let's see what else you can pick up. Right here in the tier 1, we got Shogoff Punishment for 30 life. Everybody likes 30 life. You can't complain about that. Then we have the Dread Mantle. This is like the old Divine Crusader effect, where you basically apply stacks to an enemy that reduces their melee range power, spell power, and armor class. So you just turn it on and nearby enemies get this effect. In my opinion, this is actually surprisingly good, especially in any type of boss fight, raid boss, that sort of thing, because reducing the amount of melee and range power monsters have is very noticeable, especially in the higher difficulties like in Reaper mode and the like. So very neat passive ability. Then we have the Epic Strike. Dire Attack. Dire Charge? That's right, Dire Charge is now a tier 1. However, it's not the existing Dire Charge. Dire Charge is exactly the same, except instead of stunning targets, it is a stunder. It still says it's based off of stun DCs. That's because they wanted to make Legendary Dreadnoughts like a stunning tree. So all of the DCs in here are based off of stun, similar to the fact that all of the DCs in Fury are based off of trip. All of the DCs in Divine Crusader are based off of sunder. This is the stunning tree. So everything in here is based off of stunning. So the sunder effect is based off of a stun and your highest ability score. Now you might be sad about this and hope or wish that Dire Charge wasn't bricked. Oh, also there's Dire Shot, which is the same thing for ranged characters. You might be sad and be like, man, what happened to Dire Charge? I wish I had Dire Charge. Well, guess what? It gets better. You can upgrade this Dire Charge with Momentum Swing, which makes it also trip. Now, this might sound like it's a downgrade, but bear in mind that while this doesn't cause helplessness, more monsters can be tripped than can be stunned. So pretty much every single monster that can be stunned can also be tripped. But you can't stun undead, which you can trip. You can't stun constructs, which you can trip, so it makes this Dire Charge a lot stronger. And then finally, the tier 5, you have Lay Waste, which adds that stun back in. So Dire Charge is still valuable to use. And if you're playing around with it on my Paladin, it's still very, 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 very good. I really like Dire Charge, especially against the undead and constructs. Being able to just crowd control constructs in High Reapers is very valuable, since there's few actual crowd controls that work against them. So very nice to have. The range, just to clarify, this is a single arrow. This is not an area of effect. It's an arrow. You can area of effect it with improved precise shot, which is how you're supposed to area of effect this ability. How you feel about improved precise shot notwithstanding, that's how it is supposed to work. Then you have Epic Tactics for +3 to all tactics DCs, and then Push Through the Line, which is an action boost bonus. Whenever you activate an action boost, you get +3 to all ability scores. I've seen a lot of people get upset about this. I don't understand how. This is very strong. When you activate this, it gives you a minor, what was it called? Energy Surge? No, Power Surge, which is the fighter effect that gives you +8 to all ability scores. So with this, you could have +11 to all ability scores, which is like extra hit points, extra saving throws, extra damage. I can't imagine how this is a bad ability. Very, very nice to have universal stats across the board. Then we have Life and Death, which gives you positive and negative amp. This should also just have repair, so hopefully that gets changed and added in there. Combat Brute for +1 W while you have any action boost active in your Dread Mantle. Very good ability, obviously very strong. You're going to want to take this if you're a Dreadnought at all. Honor or Backstab. You can either get +2 to attack while flanking, which stacks up 3 times for +6 to attack, or +3 just to attack. So flanking or not flanking. Flanking works. The way flanking works in DDO is if you're standing behind a target, which means if you're standing behind, you get +6 to hit. That's a lot of hit for 3 points, and it's also very low in the tree. So consider this pretty valuable. But if you have Tactician, you get double. Would you want to take Tactician? Probably. It's not that bad. It's +2 to all your tactical DCs, which is not the best. But that plus this gives you +12 to hit while standing behind a target. Again, if you're playing a character that struggles with hit chance, Barbarians as an example, a lot of multi-classes struggle with hit chance. This is +12 while you're standing behind a target. So any amount of grouping, you're going to be hitting pretty often. That's nice. And even here, that's still +6 on this side at all times. Not bad to think about, something to consider, very useful integration. Epic Power Attack gives you extra damage while you power attack. This is probably the worst ability in this whole tree. It's just kind of boring, doesn't do a whole lot. I kind of wish it was more exciting. And then extra action boost is extra action boost. This is obviously amazing. But talking about action boosts, you can press this, Action Boost Tactics, for +6 tactics bonus to DCs. That's actually so cool. I love that this gives an action boost bonus to tactical DCs. It's so neat. It just gives you extra chance to land your abilities. Most characters are not going to use this in terms of like their regular DCs because they'll have things that already work. But for off DC characters, for example, like an Artificer who can't get their DCs as high, or sometimes maybe even a Paladin who's trying to work in the Sunder DCs but can't get as many items, or they're not getting there, or if you're playing as a tank, very useful effect. I'm excited to see this action boost. And also, if you don't want this, the rest of the stuff is really good too. 6% double strike and double shot, amazing. Critical hit damage, very good. Dread, making it so your Destiny Mantle, gives you 15 more PRR, so you're getting 30 out of this tree, and you're dealing damage to enemies that are nearby you. Amazing. And Armor of Dusk, +6 max dex bonus. That's right, that is not just +6 light max dex bonus. That's heavy max dex bonus. Ooh, 6% extra dodge on all of your melees? I like it. Very strong effect. Unbelievable. Let's get more strong effects. How about displacement when you have any action boost active? Yeah, that's right. You just get displacement. I don't need to explain why this is very good. Having 50% of all attacks dodge you is really strong. A lot of players will run around with 20% incorporeality or 25% from items, but 50% is very hard to come by, and on pure fighters and tanks, love to see this. Kick them while they're down, so you get extra helplessness damage from your mantle. Very good. Strike the Fear gives you vulnerability stacking against monsters that are afraid, shaken, or have 5 stacks of terror. You can use this to sub in for vulnerability stacking on bosses if you don't have enough weapon that does that. We talked about Momentum Swing and Carry On. Not only is this face amazing, but also when you activate an action boost, you gain 10% action boost bonus to attack speed. This means that even if you're not using action boost haste, you are still getting attack speed on all your action boost. Get attack speed when you use action boost tactics, or get attack speed when you get action boost. Action boost melee power. Here's the kicker. I know a lot of people are missing the fact that you don't get action boost haste anymore out of Legendary Dreadnaught. Unfortunately, guys, it's not in the tree. But you can get it out of Vistani on any character you want, and a lot of different characters get haste, but even better, this works with all your basic action boosts. There's a new king in town. It's called Orcish Rage. +2 strength, +40 melee power, 10% attack speed. Oh yeah, thanks Orcish Rage. This is good. Now, tier 5s. Are the tier 5s worth it to take? Yes. Dusk Surge. When you're out of action boost, you get them back. So if you only have action boost haste, you literally never run out of it, because every time you hit people, you always get your action boost back. Cool. Infinite action boost haste, very good. Lay Waste. Obviously, the stun is good. Anybody asks why you actually need the trip, or why you need the stun when you already have the trip? The answer to this question is because in the higher difficulties, Dire Charge is nice, but if you can't kill the monster within 6 seconds, it is going to get back up and kill you. Helplessness lets you deal more damage to monsters, which means there's a lower chance that they will stay alive in those 6 seconds. But if you knock them down and you don't kill them in 6 seconds, they will get up and kill you. If you stun them and you can kill them in 6 seconds from all the helplessness damage, they don't kill you. So very good effect. The big epic moment, Action Hero. For 20 seconds, you gain these bonuses. It counts as an action boost, but it does not share a cooldown with them. And so for 5 minutes, or on a 5-minute cooldown, you get 8 bonus to attack, 30 melee power, 30 and range power, 30 attack speed, 30 double strike and double shot, 15 AC and PRR, 15% dodge for some reason, a bunch of movement speed, trip, sunder, DCs, stun, saving throws, skills, literally everything. Again, I've seen people scoff at this. This is a disgusting amount of damage in one button press. This loses some value. The higher you get to 100% double strike, I will say the more value this loses. But if you aren't already at 100% double strike, amazing. If you're a ranged character, amazing. Very, very cool. Legendary Rally is a new attack, and this is a big attack just on a 20-second cooldown. It's an auto crit cleave with +2 multiplier, which is so strong as a melee, and you can use it while crowd controlled, and it clears all crowd control from you. I've tried this ability. It's gross. It's so strong. It's ridiculous. It's a auto crit, but also a cleave. The range attack is not a cleave, but it you can shoot through monsters, which is cool. Yeah, Legendary Rally. Get it. And then lastly, there is extra crit multi on a 19 or 20 with bludgeoning, slashing, or piercing weapons. I believe this is going to include ranged as well, which was either just left off the list, or I think that these include range. I'm not sure, but range will be included in this as well. Overall, Dreadnaught, super strong, super good. I am so excited to screw around with this tree more than I already have. This ability up here, Legendary Rally, it's a stun break that does an insane amount of damage. You're going to play Legendary Dreadnaught. It's going to be a lot of fun. But the best part, remember when I said there's 2 range trees here? Dreadnaught and Shiradi. You might say, yeah, but Strimtom, Shiradi is right here. And I know some of these things are kind of cool for range, but do you really want them? Probably not for a bow user. I don't think bow users are going to want to use this tree that much. Crossbow users, how do you like Endless Fusillade with 10% bonus attack speed? And you never run out of them because you can regenerate them. Yes, that is how that works. Infinite Fusillade. It's great. And if you're a repeating crossbow user, do you want a triple crit attack with +2 multi on it? Oh, repeating crossbows back on the menu. So, take a look at that. Dreadnaught, very good. Now we look at Shiradi. Now, Shiradi, I don't love Shiradi for 2 reasons. 1, I don't like ranged. It's obvious. And 2, it just needs a little bit more pizzazz, you know? So let's talk about what it does and doesn't do. First, it's got Fey Favor. Range power, mana, force, and universal spell power. Also, this is a hybrid caster tree, so it gives you spell DCs. Don't worry about hybrid caster in terms of losing stuff. Much like Shadow Dancer, this tree has hybrid in that you can choose either the caster thing or the attack thing. You can easily make it to the top here using either caster or range, so don't worry about that. Vision, which gives your attacks Ghost Touch, you bypass dodge and dodge fortification, and if you have Holy Strike, you get double. 10% dodge fortification or dodge penetration is really strong because a lot of the monsters that dodge stuff, like your hero souls and the like, they have the like around 15% dodge or so. So being able to bypass 10% gets rid of most of that. And then finally, Audience of the Queen. When you shrine, you get a bonus. The bonuses are pretty minor. It's like PRR, MRR, standard stuff, so nothing really crazy. The downside is you can't use this to make yourself immune. The upside is it just always works. You don't have to remember to put it on. You just get it when you shrine. So what does Shiradi do? We have Prism, the Destiny Mantle. Prism is exactly what it did before. It does extra damage of random type on a 7% chance. Spells have a 14% chance. Because you cast less spells than you attack, all the percent random chance effects are doubled with spells. So it's 7% for attacks, 14% for spells. This actually makes and also when it uses spells, it doesn't scale off of range power, it scales off of spell power. This means that yes, once again, the Shiradi garbage spammer build where you just whip out magic missiles is back. It is actually back and it does work. Wild Magics for mana and spell power is good. Good Luck, which gives you +3 to all saves and skills. And if you have Luck of Heroes, this is doubled. This is actually great. Luck of Heroes is not the best feat, but would I take Luck of Heroes if it was going to give me +4 to all saves? Yeah, I would. Because this is +7 saving throws. Holy moly. I'm going to look at Face Sight here, which is Listen, Search, and Spot, plus your Immune to Blindness. The Immune to Blindness thing isn't great, but Listen, Search, and Spot is kind of nice. And then Shiradi Strike. You either get Hunt's End right away. Just like Adrenaline, Hunt's End is available at the beginning, so this is the big one-shot ability. Reminder, this is a ranged attack only. You cannot use Hunt's End with melee attacks. You cannot use Adrenaline with ranged attacks. They are now separate, but you get them both at the same progression. Phalanxes is a spell-like ability, and it's basically a mini color spray, but don't worry, it gets better. It does a Daze, Blind, and a Silence effect, and you can spam this very constantly if you're a spellcaster. Moving up to tier 2, you have the enhancement to your Prism. So all of the Mantle stuff is this entire line. So the first enhancement is you either get Stay Frosty or Stay Good. Stay Frosty adds cold damage, and Stay Good adds light damage. Now, I believe that the Stay Good is still supposed to have the good damage, or the like good enhancement, so it makes your damage good, and the Stay Frosty is still supposed to add the slow. It's not here, but they were talking about it in the thread, so I think that's coming back. Then for the Mantle, you have Double Rainbow, which is Double Rainbow. It just has a random effect. This could do anything. The effects are all over the place. I don't know exactly what they are. Usually not that helpful, but it's okay. Fate Form, which just gives you more DR and spell power, which is not too shabby. You can definitely skip this if you're like a regular ranged caster or like ranged character. And then the second power-up, you either get Paralyzing, which is Nerve Venom, or Freezing, which is Freezing. Very powerful effects on the overall thing, so it's not too bad. Here we have Double Shot, which is just great. Shiradi Power, you can either get Pin. So Pin is the kind of like big attack here. This is also not an epic strike, so it shares a cooldown with nothing, so anyone can use Pin, including like regular crossbow users, people that are using the Legendary Dreadnaught over here. Or you get Beguiling Charm, which is your charm effect, your spellcast. Now, you might not use charms. I don't either, but don't worry, it gets better. Because right above that, you get the improved. You either get the improved Otto's pin with Otto's Whistlery, which makes this your pin is pin and Otto's Whistler at the same time, which is nice. Or you get Greater Beguiling Charm, which makes it so monsters deal double damage while they're charmed. I don't normally charm, but charming a guy to give him double damage? That's pretty good, especially if you hit like a big champion. So this makes me think about it a lot more. Normally, charms are not the greatest, but charming stuff is really good crowd control in higher difficulties. And in lower difficulties, this is just going to make one monster clear stuff for you. So very cool. Next to that, we have Healing Spring. Healing Spring scales off Wild Empathy charges, which is kind of cool, and you have Wild Empathy charges here. One of the things they said with the cohesive change is they want to make it so anything in Heroics is also useful into Epics. So they wanted to make, you know, Smites work, Turn Undeads, Action Boost charges, Rage charges, and now Wild Empathy charges, which is very cool. But Vigor Mass is garbage. This ability sucks, and it should be changed either back to the way it was or turned into Regenerate Mass. This is an epic ability, and I don't think that is too overpowered given the limitation on how many Wild Empathy charges you can even get. Having like 4 regenerates for free is nice, but that is not game-breaking considering Cocoon is actually free and is about the same. Actually, I think it might heal more. So this should be at a very minimum regenerate, this should be at a maximum regenerate and at a minimum the old effect, but you can still have it scale off of Wild Empathy charges for uses, which is perfectly fine. Up at the tier 3, you have Pierce Deception, which gives you Watchful Eye, so you auto-search for traps, and if you already have it, you get 5% double shot. Kind of convenient if you're playing like any type of ranged trapping kind of character. I already talked about the improved ability, and then you have the improved to your either Hunt's End, giving you more damage, or Fey Flash. Fey Flash. Fey Lights now affects undead, plants, constructs, and oozes, which is kind of convenient. But again, you might still think the effects are lackluster, just wait. And then we have extra DCs right here. Moving up to the tier 4, Whirling Wrist for attack speed with thrown weapons. This is the one area where I think they could add in something else. This is the only area where you're like, there's just not enough points. 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, and 3 points. There's actually not 10 here. So that needs to be fixed because you need to be able to spend at least enough points to get up to the next tier. So that should be adjusted. So increase the power and make stuff cost more. Overwhelming Force, more damage on Hunt's End. Or the Daze portion is now a stun. So Fey Lights, it takes a while, but Fey Lights ends up becoming a stun that literally works on 100% of the monsters in DDO. Yeah, that's really good. Enemy on my own gives you favorite enemy Fey, and then track is track. The important note, this is dealing damage. This actually works with melees, and it also works with spells. So track is very cool, and it was a good ability before. And now the tier 5. First, we have Spell DCs, which is, of course, Spell DCs. It's in all the caster trees. Lore of the Hunt, which gives +1 critical multiplier on a 19 or 20 with ranged weapons. Feywild the Tomb, which gives you extra dodge. And while wielding longbows or shortbows, you gain base attack bonus equal to your character level, as well as force and universal spell power. And then finally, we have the Epic Moment. Now you either have Mass Chaos, which makes it so all monsters in an area are automatically confused with no save. And, no save. So they're confused, which means they attack each other. And anytime a monster hits another monster, it increases the amount of damage that it takes. So basically, find a boss, like, for example, the final boss of Night Falls on Stormreach, which is a guard that spawns with a bunch of ads. Mass Chaos them, so they start attacking each other. They start hitting the guard, and now the big boss is taking like 20%, 30%, 40% more damage. Very, very cool effect. Or Inexorable Advance, which is for 30 seconds, you get 30 range power, which is already good. You can move while gaining Archer's Focus stacks, which is so powerful. You can move around during a fight and not have any negative consequences. You don't have the penalty for damage with improved precise shot, and you get a movement speed bonus. Very, very, very strong effect. Going to be happening all the time. So why don't I like it that much? Well, I still think they need to add more to make it a little bit, like I said, chunkier for each individual specialization. Like I said, this takes up too much space here because you don't get any, like, you don't want to take Healing Spring. Even if you take Healing Spring, you may not want the Empathetic Link. So maybe this should do something at tier 3. There's just not enough in tier 4. And also, finally, the tier 5 is the only place where you run out of stuff to spend points on, because if you are not a spellcaster, you're taking the Stay Frosty, you're taking Lore of the Hunt, you're taking this, and you're taking this, and that's only 8 points spent up here, so you still don't have enough for whatever the new capstone of this tree would end up being. So that's my only complaint. Pretty much just make that adjustment, and everything should be copacetic. Overall, Dreadnaught is an amazing tree that supports ranged. Shiradi has Hunt's End, so it's good enough, but I feel like they could do more, and I'm excited to see what more changes. A lot of people posted interesting feedback on the forums, so if you have more feedback about this, make sure you go. Links will be in the description to post feedback about that. But that's all I have for you today, so thank you for watching. I hope you appreciated this little look into these trees here. I'll be back with some more Epic Destinies next time, so thank you for checking this out. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.